I want to talk about like experimenting. Actually, no. I want to talk about finding that one thing, finding my one lane, finding my niche, or finding the thing that's going to allow me to get picked up by the algorithm, or the one thing that's going to establish me as an authority online, which is like an online business term for those of you who don't know. Kind of like a YouTube term. No, it's not just YouTube. I think it's just online businesses in general. And also just finding that one thing, because I've been sort of hustling. This is not the perfect word, but I've been sort of hustling for quite a few years, just hustling in the online business space. And I always struggle with defining myself and defining my business and who I am. And I've always been very self-conscious about it. One moment I would think that I've landed on the perfect thing. Oh, I'm gonna like just create affirmations for my Instagram now because I'm really good at words. Or, oh, I'm just gonna draw comics now. Or I'm going to post advice on living a soft life now on YouTube. And this is gonna be my thing. This is gonna be like my pillar. This is the main pillars of my content. I just always get so stumped because I just constantly want to move on to something else. And for years I've been shaming myself that, I've been shaming myself about this a lot. It's like, why can't you just settle on one thing? And as I'm saying that, and I, as I'm saying this and filming this video, I just feel so incredibly self-conscious because I'm just really scared of judgment right now. And I know that's not a favorable thing to say, or that doesn't really work in my favor if I just admit to the world that I am scared of judgment and I have issues with wanting external validation and seeking attention from others, so I don't feel like a worthless piece of shit. But we all have a little bit of that, right? It's just me. It's not just me. I'm doing my best. I'm just feeling so self-conscious that, oh, Kim, you're posting storytelling content now because this is what the algorithm wants. You're just trying to catch a trend. I'm definitely fighting through a lot of insecurities right now. And I think I've always been fighting through these insecurities. I've always had the insecurity and the fear of being judged, which is ironic because I'm putting my face online. But it's like the desire to talk about my journey and share my ideas and actually create something for myself online is stronger than the fear of judgment and insecurity. Like, I think if that inner purpose and inner passion isn't stronger than my insecurity and fear, I would not be doing this at all. And I guess you could argue that you're just doing this because you're attention seeking. I don't know. I don't feel like that's entirely true. I definitely sort of fell to trends and made decisions to kind of pursue certain types of content because I feel like, oh, shiny object syndrome. This will get me the views. This will get me and I will be lying if I just say, oh, I'm just creating for the sake of creating, which is what I'm doing. But there are times when I'm just like, I want to get views. I want to get picked up by the algorithm. I want to succeed in the online business world because it's kind of stupid now that I think of it, that I'm shaming myself for wanting success. And I'm also shaming myself for wanting authenticity and creativity. I'm shaming myself for wanting anything, really. I'm just looking for reasons to punish myself, so. The struggle bus is real, but I'm still driving this bus. I'm still a freaking captain. Who's a captain now? But yeah, for years I made videos about this even. Like, I've sort of come to declaration after declaration and realization after realization, just wanting to find this one thing. And I always just sort of would arrive and then would just just amp up my audience and myself, be like, oh, I found this thing. I'm gonna do this now. I'm pivoting. Which I'm, once again, feeling super self-conscious about because I sent out a newsletter telling everyone that I'm pivoting I'm not even out of tarot community, but I just want to talk about other things other than tarot and divination, and it's always a big part of me. And I'm just like, okay, I'm doing other things now. But then the moment I left, or just mentally have that mindset of like, okay, I need to create a separate sort of category and other topics, it just feels so off. It feels so off in my body. Because I'm not saying goodbye to the tarot and divination community. I'm still making decks, for Christ's sakes. Maybe not Christ, because this is a word. A lot of people are allergic to this word in this community, so just for goodness sakes. It just feels so wrong, but at the same time, it's also not wrong. Because for the longest time, I felt really confined because I really started garnering a lot of success when I created Way of the Piano Tarot. I really just made so many friends from the tarot community. It was truly when I felt like I belonged somewhere creatively, and that people appreciated my work and things like that. It fed my creativity, but at the same time I felt really confined by this idea that I need to pick one thing to niche down. Like, oh, I guess tarot is my niche now, so everything I make and everything I create has to be about tarot. And I think I created this cage for myself when I didn't have to. And yeah, so it's like for a while tarot was my thing, and I wanted to get into divination, and I wanted to do like, oh, I'm like cute and witchy and cozy content, right? Or I could write affirmations, or I could make oracle decks, or I could just write a lot of books because I'm a writer, or I could just, this is my thing now, this is my thing. I keep trying to land on this one thing. I just keep wanting to, because like in the online business world, it's easier for you to attract followers when people know what to expect. Let's say they click on your Instagram account and it's all, say, dieting advice, and that's exactly what they're looking for. Then it's easier for them to want to click that follow button because they know exactly what to expect from you. And I kind of always wanted that. I want people to know what to expect from me. And I want people to know, okay, oh, like Kim is a tarot account, or Kim is this. I've been wanting to do that, but I always feel so confined when I just try to decide on when I would decide on one thing, I would try to just like execute on it, try to build my platform sort of just around that idea. Oh, this is my one thing now. And then I would feel so restricted and confined and just feel like a failure, because I always just shame myself for not being able to persist with one thing. I always just feel so like dejected about not being able to launch myself and just persist with this one thing. Even the past 2 months, I sort of feel like I want to talk about living a soft life, and I want to talk about hustling, but not hustling in a toxic way. Like, I want to talk about being committed and driven in life, and also just treating yourself with a lot of softness. And I thought that was going to be my thing, and I thought that was going to be my brand, but that really isn't. That is a big part of my life. That's something I want to talk about for sure, but I just keep like, there is a phrase in Chinese called 画地为牢. It means you basically draw like a circle, or you draw a little confined space on the ground, and you are like standing in the middle of it, and you call that your cage, and that's like your prison. But really nothing is really keeping you from stepping out of that little circle, or that little sort of imaginary prison that you have. Sort of like an Eight of Swords moment. I feel like I've just been creating unnecessary cages for myself, thinking that I need to find this one topic, one theme, one content pillar, another online business technical term. And I was talking about like establishing yourself as an authority. That's what it means. Like, let's say establishing yourself as an authority in tarot. It's like, oh, people will come to Kim when they want to know about storytelling in tarot, or oh, they will come to Kim for maybe creative advice, or they will come to Kim for decoration or something like that. Actually, speaking of authority, I think if there's something that I'm kind of like an organic authority of now, is creating decks, because I made like 6 decks and it's something I can naturally talk about, but what stops me from talking about it is just this feeling of inadequacy. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and I kind of just I'm arriving at a conclusion that this is not, I'm not just one thing, or, you know, the one thing is me being a creative person and living a creative life. And it never occurred to me that I could just be that, or I could build an entire business around that, or have my online content just be structured around that and just organically feed off of that, and just let that radiate, just let that be expressed. And I can't help but get the feeling that for those of you who are watching, if you've been following me, you know, maybe you purchased multiple, you know, the decks that I made, or you just consume my content, or you've just been following me on my journey and you like to listen to what I talk about and you resonate with what I share. Maybe this is really obvious to you. I can't help but feel like this is really obvious to a lot of people, that yeah, we follow you, or we support your business, or we give you our money because we love you as a creator. In fact, a lot of people told me that it's like, I will buy anything that you make because I love you as a creator. But I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? It's not because this one thing I created has so much function and solve your problem. Because when you're trying to succeed in the online business world, because you have to find a problem, you have to find a pain point, and you have to solve the problem. But sometimes art, being creative, sometimes it's not to solve your problem. Sometimes it's just to make you feel something. And maybe that's the problem. The problem is you don't know how to feel that particular thing inside of you. And maybe listening to me or getting one of my decks allows you to connect to that place. And it's not something that looks like it has a visible solve. It doesn't have a glorious, it's not like you go on a diet and you lose weight and there's like a clear result that you want to achieve that's visible. Art is more subtle, right? Love is about how you feel and how you know yourself and how you know the world. So maybe this is really obvious to a lot of people. It's like, yeah, Kim, your one thing is you being a creative person. And I'm just sort of starting to see that. And it's sort of like I always knew this in the back of my head, but I just couldn't acknowledge it and I couldn't live it because I didn't love myself enough to let myself live it. I just couldn't because I was sort of blocked by my subconscious beliefs of like not being enough and not being adequate and just feeling like I would never get accepted. It literally is just occurring to me, or that there is this emerging awareness within me, just this inner knowing, this inner reckoning that I can never settle down with one thing. I can never settle on one thing or just one main thing to talk about. It's because there's so many different parts of me that I want to share and express, and there's so many things I want to create. I want to make affirmations, I want to make art, and I want to make doodles, and I want to make decks, and I want to write books, and I want to write poems, and I want to experiment with photography. There's so many things I do in this business. Like, I'm a one-woman show. Everything is for me. Everything you freaking see is for me, except for the SEO tags. I use AI for that. And I know AI is controversial. I don't think AI is evil. There's different ethics and lines drawn with AI, but I use AI for some grindy tasks, like coming up with SEO tasks, which is something I've been really bad at, but now there's AI and it helps me so much. You can hate on how AI is used. I've been sort of experimenting with my boundaries with AI as well. There are things I decided that I will never do, and things I decide that, oh, it's okay, like such as brainstorming with AI. Anyways, this is a different topic. I hope this is not going to offend people, but I know AI is a really touchy and sensitive topic. It is a new thing. But yeah, anyways, this video is not about AI. This video is about me finding my identity as a creator. I'm so scared. I hope I don't get canceled over AI. I don't think so. I hope not. But yes, I'm coming to the realization that maybe this is my one thing. It's just me being creative, because I would always need variety. I would always want to dive into different creative mediums and just try my hand, just try and just experiment and just satiate my curiosity, and just different periods and different cycles I would be drawn to different things. I would want to, for example, for the longest time I just wanted to draw and doodle, and then when that was over I moved on to maybe affirmations or something. Like, I would just always want to do something different, and I know that's not good for the algorithm. I know that's not good for the algorithm, but I think that's really just who I am, and I don't know how that's gonna work with the algorithm either. I've been researching into like people who are just creative and they have multiple kind of creative passions, and how they've been building their businesses online, how they find success online. And there's quite a lot of them. A lot of people find success online being a multi-talented entrepreneur or multi-passion entrepreneur and things like that. So I think being a creative person and owning up to the fact that, you know, just creative living is, you know, people do look for this stuff. I'm looking for this stuff. So if I'm looking for this kind of stuff and I aspire to this, to look for other people like sort of sharing their content and just talking about that creative living, then there's other people like me who might look at my stuff and be like, hey, I really like the way Kim decorates her room, or I like the way Kim shares about this particular topic, or I like the way she talks about mental health, and yeah, we form a tribe, or whatever. And I always feel so weird about using kind of online business lingo to talk about what I'm trying to achieve. But it's also like, this is what I'm dealing with though, as a creator. This is kind of just my world, and sometimes I feel weird, like, is this like kind of breaking a fourth wall moment where where let's say I talk about like communicating with my audience, but you're watching this and you're my audience. Does that put you on a spot, or do you feel like left out? It's like, I'm right here. Why are you calling me your audience, even though I am? Sometimes I feel really weird about that. I don't know if this is like true for a lot of creators, because I feel really weird when there's like a lot of like online businesses or accounts or personas or figures or just people. They talk to their audience and they address the audience intimately. And I always feel really awkward doing that, because I just want to talk about me when I get on camera. And I know that sounds really selfish and self-centered and narcissistic. Like, I'm not trying to talk about me to exclude other people. I'm just sharing my perspective. And it feels weird to like talk about what I'm going through while doing that intimate address. I don't know if it's because I'm not really good at it, or it's just the nature of my content. So I don't know, like, what do you think? Do you feel weird being addressed as the audience? I don't know. Yeah, it feels kind of strange, because I follow a lot of like online business accounts, and then they would teach kind of entrepreneurs how to address the audience, and they would talk to their audience with the word audience. So it's a little weird. This is like an identity crisis. I don't know. But yeah, I think my one thing is just being a creative person and living a creative life. And I wonder if that could just be my thing. And I wonder if you have seen this all along and you're just like, duh, Kim, that's very obvious to us. We don't know why you put yourself on this struggle bus and you insist on driving the struggle bus of trying to find that one thing. Because we always thought your marketing is on point and your branding and your aesthetic is just like so you. Like go onto your website, we know it's you because of all the pastels and like the dreamy vibes and all the sparkles and butterflies. We know this is you. Why can't you see it for yourself? I know. Sometimes you just have a lot to deal with, but I have a lot to be grateful for. I don't want to sound entitled and like a victim when I say like I have a lot to deal with. It's like, yeah, like fuck you. That's really not what I mean. I'm just like, yeah, I'm embracing my struggle and just accepting that there are struggles in my life, and I don't ever want to pretend that they're not there. But I also just really want to highlight that I'm a resilient person. I'm dealing with them and I'm doing my best to improve and level up. And it's a duality, right? It's like I'm not just one side. I'm both of them at the same time, or sometimes I'm just struggle and victimhood. Sometimes I'm all heroism and champion and just like love and light. And sometimes I'm like everything in between. And sometimes I'm just sometimes I'm all of it or none of it. C'est la vie, c'est la vie. This is just how life is. Practice non-attachment. You must not get too attached to the different personas and identities on your inner landscape, right? Am I right? I think that's what detachment means from Buddhism. All right, until next time. Take care of yourself and rest guilt-free and dream that dream of yours.